A young and shy girl, Melissa, lives in a small house with her mother, Daria, and grandmother, Elvira. Melissa has a very strained relationship with her mother, so she shares all her secrets and events in her life with her grandmother, who feels worse every day because of her addiction to smoking. In the morning, her mother cannot wake Melissa, but the girl does not sleep at all and is engaged in an interesting case. After a while, Melissa meets her friend Manuela, and the girls go to a party at the house of a rich guy, Daniel, in whom Melissa is in love. She is nervous and hesitant to approach and talk to the guy. However, Daniel notices her and invites her to swim in the pool. But the girl can't swim, so she just sits by the pool until Daniel pulls her into the water. Melissa starts to drown, and the guide, realizing that the girl can't swim, immediately helps her get out. Daniel then takes Melissa to a beautiful secluded spot on the edge of a cliff. There, the couple has a conversation in which Daniel suggests that Melissa come here every day and he will teach her how to swim. After a couple of questions, it turns out that Melissa is not yet an experienced girl, and in addition, Daniel begins to realize that the girl is in love with him and is ready to do anything for him. He takes advantage of this and treats her to a chupa chupa and then just leaves. Summer vacation has come to an end and fall has arrived. Melissa is still in love with Daniel, whom she has never seen since the incident at the party. The girl writes all her experiences in her personal diary. A couple of days later, Melissa goes to a bar with her friend Manuela, where Daniel and his friends are having a rest. Daniel notices Melissa and introduces her to his friends. After having a few drinks, the couple goes to Daniel's house, where during the division by zero, the girl says that she loves Daniel. But upon hearing this, the guy just walks away, leaving Melissa alone. Soon, Melissa makes a promise to herself that she will be just like Daniel and hurt other people for her own pleasure. At home, Melissa learns that her parents have decided to put her grandmother in a nursing home because her condition has worsened and she needs professional care. This fact makes Melissa very upset, as there is no one closer to her than her grandmother. After a touching farewell to Elvira, the grandmother, mother, and daughter return home. Daria tries to talk to Melissa, but the girl is angry and not in the mood for dialogue. From the next day, Melissa is determined to change herself. She goes to a cafe with Manuela and easily attracts a man sitting nearby. When he comes closer to get acquainted, Melissa simply walks away, leaving him with nothing. With this prank, Melissa wanted to prove to Manuela that she has changed a lot. Christmas has come, and Elvira has come to visit her relatives. Seeing Melissa, the grandmother realizes that the girl has accumulated a lot of problems. Elvira tries to tell Daria about it, but the woman replies that she did not notice anything terrible in her daughter's life. One day, Melissa gets a call from Daniel and invites her to his house under the pretext that he has a surprise for her. Despite the fact that the guy repeatedly offended her, the girl agrees to come. Daniel immediately begins to attract Melissa and orders her to close her eyes. Just as suddenly, Daniel's friend enters the room and the guys switch places. After opening her eyes, Melissa becomes furious and tries to leave. But then, to prove that she is no longer the shy girl she used to be, she returns and engages in division by zero with two guys at once. Everything that happens to her, Melissa continues to methodically describe in her diary. When Manuela finds out what Melissa does in her spare time, she tries to convince her friend that she shouldn't behave like this, but Melissa doesn't listen to her. The next day, she goes to a museum and admires a painting, dreaming of being looked at the same way as the woman depicted on the canvas. A man who works as a museum curator joins her, and after a couple of languid glances, they go to study each other's anatomy. One day, Melissa's diary falls into the hands of her classmates, and they begin to read aloud about all the adventures and adventures of the girl. Everything's secret becomes revealed, and Melissa's life begins to slip into the abyss after that. Melissa snatches the diary and blames Manuela for everything. Afterwards, the girls fight. To emphasize her changes, Melissa changes her image and buys more interesting clothes. A little later, Manuela meets her and wants to talk about everything and make up, but Melissa does not care about her old friend. Also in Melissa's class, there was a new boy named Marco who was always admiring the girl but could not dare to talk to her. And now, having gathered courage, Marco decides to dialogue with Melissa, as suddenly she gets a call from Arnaldo, Daniel's friend, and the girl immediately runs away to him at the first call, and Marco just looks after Melissa running away. The girl meets Arnaldo, and the guy claims he has a surprise for her. But first she has to be blindfolded and go down to the basement. Of course, she falls for the ruse again, apparently because she was dropped a lot as a child. There were 4 other guys waiting for Melissa in the basement, and the girl got into an unequal fight with 5 guys. The next day, rumors of what happened spread throughout the school, and everyone learns what Melissa is really like. But this does not stop the girl, but on the contrary, only encourages her. She creates an account on a dating site so that she can communicate on all sorts of topics. There she meets a man, arranges a meeting in a more interesting place, and he invites her to a hotel room. That's where she goes. After a while, Daria receives a call from the nursing home and reports that Elvira is in an extremely serious condition. Hearing this, Daria goes to Melissa's room, but does not find her daughter there. But she finds a diary, which she begins to read with horror. The woman takes it with her to the nursing home and continues reading, immersing herself in the details of her daughter's life. Elvira's buddy comes out of the ward and informs her that her grandmother has passed away. After this, Daria begins to cry furiously. At the same time, Melissa enters the hotel room, where various outfits are prepared for her. A little while later, the culprit of the celebration himself appears in the room, who immediately gets angry when he sees that Melissa is dressed in a mixture of the costumes he has prepared. The man says that he had games planned, but Melissa takes the initiative and starts to act. Admittedly, it didn't last long, as everyone knows what initiative does to the initiator. The man hurts Melissa badly, and she miraculously manages to escape from the hotel. After a failed evening out, Melissa runs to the nursing home, but meets her mom there. Daria tells her about her grandmother's death, and upon hearing this, the girl begins to cry. From Melissa's clothes, her mom realizes where her daughter has been, but doesn't say anything about it, giving her daughter time to grieve. Daria does show the diary and asks if everything that is written in it is true. Melissa replies that it is indeed true, and they begin to cry together. Daria then apologizes to her daughter for being a bad mother and promises that everything will change from this day forward. On the last day of school, Melissa reconciles with her friend Manuela, and they head off to school together. There they watch Arnaldo and Daniel fight because they couldn't share a girl. Seeing Melissa, Daniel tries to talk to her, but she passes by. This time she doesn't listen to him. Melissa goes to check the results of the exams and finds out that Marco has failed them. The guy finally confesses his feelings to Melissa and draws her portrait. A little later, Daniel approaches her and invites her to a party in honor of the end of the school year. Melissa refuses at first, but later agrees. That same evening, Melissa goes with Manuela to Daniel's house. There, the girl crosses eyes with her former lover, after which she heads to the backyard to the cliff and jumps into the sea. Unfortunately or fortunately, she survives and looks pretty happy. At the end of the movie, Melissa and her mother go to lay flowers on her grandmother's grave. Daria lovingly hugs her daughter, and we realize that their relationship is getting better. This is the end of the movie. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and put a like if it was interesting.